Hello, greetings to all. I am Dheeraj Chawda and I like to welcome you all to my video. Today we are going to learn a very interesting concept. But before that, let me ask you a simple question. In your childhood, you must be riding a cycle or even a bike. So there is one competition known as slow cycling competition. In this competition, whoever is the last of the race wins the race or wins the competition. And also there is one exciting rule that is related to our concept and in this video, that is our feet should not touch on the ground while riding the cycle and the cycle should maintain its stable position. A pretty confusing, right? That is why I have brought a cycle in this video. So let me introduce to my cycle. So when I am riding a cycle, as you can see, when I am riding a cycle, if the cycle moves in the left direction, I will move my body in the right direction such that it maintains its stable position. Vice versa, if the cycle moves in the right direction, I will move my body in the left direction and it will maintain its stable position. Now, many of the people in this video have already guessed the title that I am going to speak about. For those who have not guessed, so my topic basically is about stability. The word stability means, let me first give you a Google definition of stability, that is the ability of any object to maintain its static and dynamic motion without any external help. Now, what basically I have understand from the word stability is that, let us just now divide the word stability. Like stability, what ability comes there. So my definition of stability is that the ability of an object to maintain its original position without any external help is known as stability. So in this video, we will look the classifications of stability, its sub-classifications, and we will just go in depth in this video. So there are two types of stability. One is static stability, another one is dynamic stability. So let us go to the definition of the static stability. Static stability basically means the immediate response to the disturbance if the object is in a steady state or it is in a rest. Let me give you an example. I have already gave you. Let me just show you that. So again I will be introducing my cycle, of course. So now the static stability word means that when I will just explain to a cycle. This cycle is in a steady state, means it is at rest, it is not moving, it is basically at a steady position. Now, if the cycle is moving in the right direction, the immediate response to bring back to its original position is known as static stability. This is the immediate response, means the cycle is going in the right direction, it will just move in its original position. Basically I am applying this force, but the ability of the object by any means can be known as static stability. Now the word dynamic stability is basically related to this one. Now suppose if the cycle is moving, okay, if the cycle is moving and it has to maintain stability throughout the cycling process. So this is the word known as dynamic stability, means the response to the disturbance the response to the disturbance over the time is known as dynamic stability. So I hope you understand this concept and the word both known as dynamic and static stability. Now we are not going in depth of the dynamic stability, rather than we will go in depth in the static stability because it is very much important into that. Now let me bring this concept of stability into my domain, that is aeronautical. So this static stability is subclassified into three types, that is longitudinal, lateral and directional stability. So before that, going into the depth, let me just draw your axis of these three stabilities, that is longitudinal, lateral and directional. I basically call as LLD. Now longitudinal axis means the length of the object is the axis, it's the straight axis. Okay. Directional means the perpendicular to the longitudinal axis is known as you can say directional axis, and lateral axis means like this. Horizontal axis through my body, this one. Basically this is my lateral axis and this is my longitudinal axis and this is my directional axis. So let's get into the depth of this longitudinal stability, directional stability and lateral stability. Before going into the depth of these three stabilities, let me tell you why it is very important. So when I am flying an aircraft at a very high altitude, these stabilities are very much important in order to maintain in order to give a steady flight and a quite free experience to the passengers. So if the stability is not there, it will cause lots of destruction, it will cause lots of damage to the aircraft as well as the passengers experience also. So these things are very much important in our aircraft field or aeronautical field. So let us now get one by one into the stabilities. So the first that I am going to tell you is that about longitudinal stability. The word longitudinal tells everything about that. So let me take one example, or it is not an example, you can say it is related to our concept. So this is a airfoil, NACA 2412 airfoil that I have taken. This is the front view, basically the front view of the airplane, and this is the side view in which you can see the airfoil of the aircraft. So now when it is flying at a high altitude, suppose there is a disturbance, there will be some kind of disturbance due to gust loads or turbulence, it will not pitch up or pitch down due to any external devices from its elevator. It will not happen from that. It will not cause disturbance from that. That is not included in the disturbance. The disturbance is known as gust loads or turbulence, as I said in the earlier video. Now, if due to this disturbance, if the aircraft tries to pitch up, the ability to maintain its stability to its original position, suppose it pitches down, to maintain its original position. This is known as longitudinal stability. So what it basically does is that, suppose this is an aircraft flying at very high altitude, not by my hand. So it pitches up, it will come back to its original position, pitches down, come back to its original pitcher, come back, pitcher, come back, pitcher, pitch down, come back. So this is known as longitudinal stability. This longitudinal stability is influenced by three control surfaces of our aircraft, that is wing, tail and fuselage. Fuselage is basically not the control surface, it is part of the aircraft. So I will not go into the depth of derivation because it will be a lengthy video and each stabilities have a long derivations and a pure thinking capacity to understand that. So these three control surfaces or these three parts of the aircraft will having some impact in the movement of the longitudinal stability. So the wing will be having a movement that is known as Cm alpha W, where the Cm stands for the coefficient of movement, alpha is the angle of attack. Basically the pitching up, I will show you. This pitching up with reference to this axis, means horizontal axis, is known as alpha. That is known as the angle of attack. The Cm alpha W represents wing, will be equal to this coefficient of lift with respect to angle of attack of the wing. Bracket, it will be a difference between the x distance between the CG and the aerodynamic center divided by the aerodynamic chord. This is the coefficient of movement. I will just paste one image of the coefficient of lift formula over here. The second one is about tail. So by the now you might have guessed what will be its detonations. It will be like Cm alpha T, where T stands for the tail, and it will be equal to negative of nu, that is the efficiency, and it will be multiplication. It will be multiplication Vh, coefficient of lift with respect to angle of attack of T, that is tail. Tail basically consists of the elevators and rudders. So it will be T in the bracket 1 minus the differentiation of epsilon with respect to the angle of attack. So I will be placing some word formula over here. So you will be understanding the formula very thoroughly. Now the last but not the least comes the fuselage. So basically now of course you have now guessed Cm alpha F, where F stands for fuselage. It will be 1 upon 36.5 like 36.5 multiplied by the surface area into the chord, into the aerodynamic chord, into summation of the WF square, and the formula just is pasted over. I don't remember it, so I will just paste the formula over here. So in this way, these three parts of the aircraft will be very much impacting on the stability longitudinal in the longitudinal axis basically. Now by combining this all, we get a formula of coefficient of movement with respect to angle of attack of a whole aircraft. It is not related to particular wing, tail or a fuselage. It is representing the whole aircraft. So Cm alpha gives this formula. So you can just write this down and will be helpful for any further uses. So these all things are very much it is derived basically through basic formulas and other concepts. Now this concludes our first type, that is the longitudinal stability. Now the second concept that we are going to see is that about the lateral stability. The lateral stability, let me show you with an example. Consider the front view of the aircraft, and this is the fuselage. Consider I am a fuselage, and this is the right side of the wing, this is the left side of the wing. Now, due to some gust load, this aircraft moves like this. So, the ability of the aircraft to maintain its original position. Now, suppose if the gust wind acts in this direction, it will move like this, but it will move basically to its original position. I cannot fully explain you with this concept because it is not attached with an ailerons. This basically everything works with a combination of ailerons in a different direction. They move basically in different direction. If suppose one aileron is moving in upward direction, the other one will move in the downward direction to maintain the stability of the aircraft. So now, how does it maintain the stability It depends upon the coefficient of its moment also. So the formula that is given for its lateral stability coefficient of moment is that CL, that is one called tau, and alpha, that is coefficient of the lift with respect to its ailerons and with respect to its angle of attack, will be equal to the twice CL alpha divided by the surface area and its distance, means there is one distance of the ailerons, integration y1 upper limit y2 c y, where c is the aerodynamic chord, c y is basically the distance, and dy. So this is basically known as the lateral stability of the aircraft. So the third concept that we are going to see is that about the directional stability. Directional stability basically involves in the deflection of the rudders. The rudders, I cannot show you rudders, but let me give an example. So rudder is basically located at the tail of the fuselage. So consider this is the tail of the fuselage and we are seeing it from a top view. Okay, from a top view we are seeing. Now if I want to if I want to go in some directions, means if I go into right, I will deflect this rudder into if I'm going to left direction, I will move into left. If I'm going to right, I will move into right direction. So basically this is the rudders. So it will be having a deflection with respect to the rudders. So now it will be also having its coefficient of moment. So it is given by Cn, that tau r represents as the rudder, will be equal to negative of efficiency of the rudder, efficiency velocity, where v and differentiation of c coefficient of it with respect to the deflection of the rudder. So this are the three stability concepts that is related to in our aircraft, and while maintaining this we will give our flight a steady level flight, and it will be not having very much deflection or very much disturbance in our aircraft. So as I said, let us just recall everything one by one. So in longitudinal stability acts basically due to three parts, that is wing, tail and fuselage. In lateral stability, it is due to the rolling motion of the ailerons, and in you can say in directional stability, it basically involves a deflection of the both you can say ailerons as well as the rudders, but mostly the impact is basically due to the rudders also, rudder only. So we are considering the rudder as our control surfaces. So in this way we are concluding our stability concept related to our aircraft field. So I hope you all liked my video about the concept that is related to stability, and if you like the video, please like, subscribe and comment anything if I want to improve. Thank you.